What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Heroes Hearth pre-interview show that we've got going on before each Warcraft 3 fight night. This time, of course, I'm being joined once again by the reigning Champion Starshaped from Sweden. He showed us a really good series against Priest the other days. Actually, it's a couple of weeks ago already. But we're here to hear his thoughts about, 2 weeks ago, about the upcoming match, which is going to be against the orc player from NA known as Hitman. So, Starshaped, man, how's it going? How have you been since those 2 weeks?
I've been fine. Looking forward to the next fight night. Planning a lot in my head.
Scheming and, developing some mean plans, I see. I like that. Now, tell us about your last match, against Priest. And tell us about your perspective and how you came into that game and, how you enjoyed or not enjoyed the series. Let us know.
It was a very different series. The first one, like Kiwakaki played against Hunter the fight night before.
Mm-hmm.
I played him, so I had like a full best of 5 to analyze and kind of get to know my opponent. And I was also at a LAN with all the Swedish guys, so I dedicated like a full day just preparing for that fight night. Whereas against Priest, I've never played him. I played him once on Eddie's, actually. But other than that, I have no idea, how he plays. I didn't really have anything to go off of in the same way. So it was a totally different preparation method as well. And I've been super busy. Like when I was at the LAN, obviously that you're there to play. So it feels all right to dedicate all that time to preparing. But right now, I've been moving apartments and work started full time as well. So I haven't had that. Against Priest, I didn't have that much time to prepare as I would have liked. So it was more of like a general preparation, just like how do I play Night Elf against human in general, and that's what I practiced.
Would you say you're kind of dependent on where you play, like the environment, the location? Do you think that kind of boosts you, like when you were at a LAN, and you fully dedicated yourself to it, or does it not really affect you?
No, that it puts you in a different state of mind almost. Like fight night was the most important thing for those hours at that LAN, whereas here it's one thing among many.
Cool.
And also just like moving apartment, like sitting in a new desk, like in a new place, playing against Priest. Like the first Warcraft games I played were pretty much against Priest in my new apartment. So just felt like I was not at home playing. It was also a weird feeling.
So next question would be a little bit more in-depth and related to the last years as well. Like Priest, we saw that he started off relatively slowly to put it in diplomatic words. The first game was not really his, but he got stronger and stronger as the series progressed, right? So were you at any given point worried about the series? Because it was really tight and really close at the end.
Yeah, I was like the first game was so one-sided that I was like, since I didn't really know Priest that well.
Yeah.
The first game really leaves an impression. So I completely calmed down after the first game and thought, okay, this is going to be a really quick 3-0. But then, every game after that was pretty much just a half an hour back and forth, exhausting experience. So like he did get a lot better. I think I also got a lot more tired, which is like the big, like again, when I was at the LAN, it's fine to stay up really late. But when I'm doing real life, staying up that late playing, it definitely affects me. So, like, I think I was a lot more sharp and alert game 1 and then game 2. And then I think during, like, when I lost my Demon Hunter for, like, the 10th time in game 3.
That was rough, yeah.
That's when I started thinking, okay, I'm going to lose this game, and then it's going to be a game 5, and I'm so tired, and, like, he's playing so well. And, like, especially in that game 4, if you look at the early game there, I didn't accomplish anything at all. Like I was actually, like he got his expansion up, he got level 3. I didn't really do anything until I was able to swoop in with a couple hundreds and like, kind of turn the game around. But like the early game in game 4 really made me think like, okay, this is going to go to game 5, and I'm just too tired to play well in that game 5. So I was actually really worried after that. But then somehow those bears and those level 6 heroes kind of saved me.
Nice. Yeah, it was a nail-biter of a series. Grubby and I also talked about it, how we were kind of worried about the series after game 1. We were like, okay, that's going to be a quick one, but we're really happy how, Priest improved steadily and made it a really good show. So the next question, Starshaped, I want to direct to you towards, a topic of the current meta with Night Elves, not necessarily just Night Elves, but what are your thoughts on the current second hero choice? We see a lot of Naga, various races actually, not just the Night Elves, but for Night Elves in particular, we also see a lot of Pandar and Brewmaster coming back. So how do you decide which hero you want to go for as a second hero?
It really depends on the matchup. If we're talking about against human, like the general rule is that if your opponent expanded and you're going for a late game kind of strategy, then you should always pick the Panda because he's just a lot better late game, laying those Breath of Fire, and especially if they go something like tanks or something, it's always nice to build a Breath of Fire towers and tanks and stuff like that, and gyros if they go mass gyros, which you can do on some maps. Whereas Naga is definitely the standard pick against like a rifle caster tech. It's just basically the safer you want to be, the more aggressive you want to be, the better it is to pick Naga. Whereas Panda really needs a bit of space to creep. So a lot of times, like if your opponent's going rifle caster, for example, it's just too greedy to pick Panda because he's not that good at level 1. He's not that good at level 2. Whereas Naga is amazing at level 1. Probably one of the best level 1 heroes. Instant impact with those cold arrows. So that's pretty much like if you want to go late game, you go Panda. If you don't, you pick Naga. And if your opponent didn't expand, you should usually just go Naga because your army, at least in theory, your army is better because you have tier 3 units and they don't. So you don't really need that super late game hero. You already have one if you pick Demon Hunter anyways.
Gotcha. Cool insight, man. I really appreciate that. So, last question for you before we release you and send you off to practice, hopefully, for Friday's Fright Night. Your upcoming opponent is Hitman from the NAs. I was told he's a very vocal player. He likes to participate in some rants on Twitter. He likes to get a little bit vocal, which is a good thing for Fight Night because the more those players interact with each other, the better. But have you heard anything about Hitman? He plays Orc. Can you prepare for him, or is it more like a shot in the blind? Where you're just like, okay, let's just see what happens.
Well, Hitman, I haven't heard anything about him ranting and stuff like that. But I mean, he plays. I know he streams. I know he plays on NetEase. Like he's always around the top ranks on NetEase. He's playing a lot of games every day, really putting in the effort. So I definitely know about him. I know. Cool. That he's really, really good, and I'd probably say he's the best American player right now. So I mean, it's going to be tough.
All right, and speaking of good players and the best players, perhaps a lot of people approached me, and I'm pretty sure they approached Grubby and other people involved in the Fight Night as well, and they were requesting or wishing for some really top tier players, or they were asking like if some really top tier players like Side, for example, was mentioned a couple of times, if they were to enter the Fight Night at some point. We were like, yeah, we're thinking about it. We don't know. Would you be confident enough to go for those top dogs like people like Side, for example, or would that be opponents where you'd be like, oh man, I'm not sure if I can handle those guys?
I think. Like honestly, players like Hitman and Kiwikaki are probably just as good as most of the kind of B tier Europeans, like Side, as you mentioned. I mean, Side isn't really happy level, so to speak. So I think like if you look at Europe, you definitely have like Happy and Foggy and Hawk and Cash. Like,
should we bring Happy in?
Well, I remember I told Grubby like as soon as you bring in Happy, I'll take the bounty and run. So. There's no point. So, but I mean, also there's kind of a point. I mean, I guess it's kind of NA focused. You want to showcase American players. So, I mean, you get to see the top players play every day, every week. So I think there's kind of a point to showing these lesser known, or like they're still very good players, honestly. So it's still going to give a lot of good matches. But yeah, I mean, if you want to, you can definitely bring in whoever you want. I mean, the prize is there. The motivation's certainly there. There's a lot of people watching. Grubby's casting and all that. So
awesome. Yeah. I mean, there you heard it, guys. So we can't make any promises. We're probably not going to bring in Happy anytime soon because we want to keep it at least a little bit interesting for you guys.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, thank you so much, Starshaped, for your time. It's always great talking to you, and I wish you all the best in the upcoming Work With You Fight Night on the Friday. And any final words? Any shout-outs?
Well, shout out to you guys for making this happen, obviously, and casting. I want to already now shout out to Knopf, Bizarre, and Krolo, the 3 Orc players that I'm kind of practicing with and helping me prepare for the match. So yeah.
Awesome. And if you guys don't want to miss any of the action, then you make sure to tune in this upcoming Friday on twitch.tv/HeroesHearth. That's where the Fight Night is going to take place at. And if you can't make it for whatever reason, there's still the chance to subscribe to this YouTube channel right there because the VOD is going to go live as soon as possible. For now, thank you very much for watching and your attention, guys, and I'll see you on Friday for the Fight Night. Peace.